What would be your advice for someone new to investing? How can they start without feeling overwhelmed?
Yeah, I would say my advice would be invest in things that you understand and don't invest in things that you don't understand. So know your risks. Oh, and I mean, so I've been a banker all my career. I'm not invested in the stock market. And then sometimes I have like funny discussions with my friends about that, right? Because I say when I go to the casino, like so I studied econometrics. So I did a lot of math, probability math. So when I go to the casino, I know my chances and I know the house always wins. And so I'm just giving this as an example, right? Because I'm not a guy or anything, but just an example. I know what the gain is. I know what the probabilities are. I know my chances of winning and I know my chances of losing. If I invest in the stock market, no clue. It's like gambling, on something that you feel like you have a hunch on or you have a vision on. It's like, for many people, it's a great hobby and it gets them excited but then do it for that. Do it for the hobby and for the excitement. But understand what you're investing in. So if you want to invest in the stock market, for example, understand which are the stable companies, what is the risk. Everybody gets very excited about Bitcoin and saying like, oh, but this guy made so much money there, and they want to be part of something, and they don't understand that it's an extremely risky investment, and risk, it goes two ways. It means it can pay out like 20 times, 100 times, but all your money can also be gone, like just like that overnight, right? So if you understand what you're investing in, then you can do it. You can say like, oh, but I have a bit of spare money. I want to take that gamble. Maybe it goes like 20 times the return, but then do it with the money that you're also fine if you lose all of it. I mean, not fine, but I mean, there's not a big problem if you lose all of it because it's a risky investment. And I think like that's what people don't understand, the risks. Also, real estate is also like, like some people feel like, oh, it's a stable investment. It's still it depends on which market itself, but it's still a pretty risky asset, right? So understanding the risk and then investing in it, that would be my advice if you talk about investing. At the same time, you want to make sure you build, a portfolio where you have different type of investments. You're not betting all on one horse. And if the real estate market goes down, you don't have all your money there, but you have a bit of money at the bank, you have maybe a bit of money in stocks, you have a bit of, so diversification is just important in investing as well. So I don't know if that was the answer you were looking for, but
I have a follow-up question which would answer it in a way. So there's so many ways to build wealth, right? So if you could look at the current market, so there's e-commerce, crypto, stock market, real estate. So which one do you feel offers best potential and why? So for young people who are just looking at Instagram and YouTube and are impressed by what people are showing their lifestyles and then they're selling their courses.
So I'll answer this question very differently. So I talked about like understanding what you invest in, understanding the risks. To me, I feel like I'm the best investment. I know my capabilities. I know what I can do. I know the risks. So if you look at what I did, I invested in myself. I invested in Roots Inspire. And I believe more in that investment than an investment in crypto or the stock market. So it's a very personal decision, right? And then with that, I also think about diversification. So I have some real estate here and there to diversify, keeping some cash, also to have some buffer, some de-risk. So yeah, like I won't give the advice like, oh yeah, crypto, because that's going like sky high. Yeah, if you want like that type of advice, people can find it on YouTube. You can find anything you want on YouTube. I can like their diversification is a no-brainer. Like I think everybody has to diversify, but also understanding your investment. And I think like for me personally, I understand the investment in myself the best. Maybe I'm overestimating a little bit, but
No, no, this is a very unique and quite justified approach to it, because as you mentioned and many people struggle with as well, there are way too many uncertainties with some of these markets, some of these options of investment. So I think, yeah, this sounds like an interesting approach. So on a lighter note, if you had to choose one, Bitcoin or a beachfront property, which one would you choose?
a beachfront property, like no question. That's like, I mean, that's a no-brainer, right? Like if you talk that type of money, like if you would have the money to buy a beachfront property and you would put that type of money in Bitcoin, you're completely out of your mind, right? I would say like that. Yeah. So the I think that if you wanted like compare those two, I would say what is the better investment? If you want to make them more comparable, you would say, I already have 10 beachfront properties. Should I buy an 11th one or should I gamble a bit and buy some Bitcoin? Then it's, like a more comparable.
Yeah. The why this answer is very useful is because you are thinking this way, that's a clear choice for you. But young people these days who are looking at Instagram and YouTube as inspiration, they get confused, and many of them would be more inclined to invest in Bitcoin because it provides that sort of excitement which young people love, and real estate and all of those things sounded comparatively boring. So yeah.
So for young people, my investment advice would be invest in your education, your skills, your, like instead of saying like, oh yeah, I invest in Bitcoin and then I can make 100 times what I invest in. No, look at the longer term and say like what I invest in my skills and my career, that's going to pay out over my lifetime much, much more than this short-term money. And obviously, I can also understand that how, like it's different parts of your life and it's different. If you only have small money to invest, then you're more inclined to go for something with a potential bigger payout, because having like a 5% payout or a 10% payout is not like making much difference. So I understand that. I don't know. It's also why people buy lottery tickets, right? They're trying to look for something that can change their life. But I believe much more in putting in the work to change your life. It's a lot slower, but it's a more realistic option.
Totally makes sense.